Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the grand finale of TCS iON IntelliGem 2022. Before we begin, may I please request and welcome Ms. Shalini Gopal Krishnan, Head TCS iON IntelliGem, to set the ball rolling.
Happy New Year and a warm welcome to one and all to the National Grand Finale of the 4th edition of TCS iON IntelliGem. I take great pleasure today in greeting all the students, parents, educators, friends and families who have gathered, of course safely from their homes, to cheer and support the finalists of TCS iON IntelliGem. Hearty congratulations to all our finalists. Since its inception in 2018, IntelliGem has evolved into a meticulously and beautifully structured contest designed to inculcate the much needed 21st century skills mindset in our younger generation. That would be the pillars of the future. The topics, the rounds, the evaluation have been diligently put together by a team of experts. The journey of the student from the day they register with us, navigating through the various rounds, is as exciting for them as it is for us. The fun-filled learning experience in the IntelliGem student community has been immensely enriching, as echoed by the students themselves. Even though every student may not reach the pre-final and final stages of the contest, we have tried to make sure that they take back with them a very rich learning experience. And that is what IntelliGem stands for. Every child is a gem. At TCS, we are proud that TCS iON IntelliGem is the only largest national level contest on the 21st century skills in India, with a focus to nurture the nation builders of tomorrow. And we are thankful to all the schools and educators who have made this wonderful journey possible for us by extending their support and guidance at every stage. So without much ado, I would hand over the mic to the host and let the finale begin. All the very best to our finalists. Thank you.
Giri Balasubramaniam, aka Pig Brain, is an educator and noted quizmaster. Pig Brain has hosted over 2,500 shows across 9 countries. He is the only quizmaster in the world to have hosted quizzes at the iconic Royal Opera House, London. An alumnus of Harvard Business School, he is also a master's in Gandhian philosophy. He is presently an Indian Administrative Fellow serving the Department of Education for the Government of Karnataka. He has hosted TCS iON IntelliGem since its inception. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming your host, Pig Brain.
A big hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today. Thank you so much, Shalini, for setting the context here today as we get into another season of TCS iON IntelliGem as we go about identifying the gems of tomorrow. With us here today are 4 outstanding children from across the length and breadth of India, and they're going to battle with each other in the national finale of Global Citizenship for Juniors. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the context of this game and the contest itself, let me remind you that it is Tata Consultancy Services TCS iON IntelliGem which actually in many ways thought through these things, which is a requirement for children globally in terms of 21st century skills and so on. Today, in the context of where we stand as a nation, it is almost something that all of us as schools need to do as part of the new education policy that this nation has. So it's really wonderful that we are implementing things that would be required to be done as part of NEP in a beautiful way of celebrating talent and in the process learning what one needs for the future in this world. Specific to global citizenship, it is so important today that every young child, every young student, every youth in this world grows to become a global citizen. The borders are blurred, the opportunities are everywhere. But we need to build in ourselves a mindset that we are citizens of one planet that we have chosen to occupy. We at Grey Caps Knowledge Tribe, along with TCS iON, have carefully tried to curate these rounds for years now, and we are indeed delighted that this has grown to become a coveted event year after year. Before we move in and introduce our two judges to you, it is my pleasure and privilege to also share with you that these four kids who are here today, and I'm referring to them as kids in the context of their age difference with me, they have come through to this national finale from thousands of children. And I really want to start with a congratulation rather than an all the best. Congratulations to the four of you for reaching this pinnacle. It really does not matter who makes it from here as the champion or not. In my eyes, all the four of you are champions simply for making it up to this level. And ladies and gentlemen, with us here today are two remarkable people. I'll give you a quick introduction for the moment and introduce them when we get to the jury round in detail. So just to welcome them on board for the benefit of the children, a quick little word for them and then I'll introduce the children. I'll come to that in a moment. With us here today, logging in all the way from the United Kingdom, is Dr. Sabah Muhammad Mansoor. And she is a medical doctor who until recently was actually serving in India, in Gujarat as a state, where she was part of a program on immunization as part of UNICEF. And we're really happy that she is someone who's joined us here today as one of our jury members. The second jury member, so we've got a medical doctor on one side. On the other side, we've got Bhushan Joshi, who's an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management from Ahmedabad. He's an IMA alumnus who's now settled in Kuwait, and he is an expert in his domain in the petroleum sector or the energy sector. And he is someone who's also passionate about the improvement of school children. So those are our two jury members here today. We'll come to them in detail when we get to the jury round. So welcome to our two judges as I get back first to introduce our four finalists. So ladies and gentlemen, before we go in and play this wonderful game on global citizenship here at TCS iON IntelliGem, it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce to you our four national finalists. From literally four wonderful cities of this country, they have lined up here today to battle with each other. First up, here today with us and representing the city of Mumbai from the Chhatrabhuj Narsi School in that city. Welcome to this final, Anusha Mehta. Here she is. Neighboring Anusha here today in our national final is our second contender from the historic city of Hyderabad. Representing Vikas, the concept school, is Ahilya. Welcome to you. Neighboring Ahilya from the amazingly progressive city of Gurgaon in the northern terrain of India, representing Delhi Public School, is Sakshan. Welcome, Sakshan. And completing our lineup here today from what people still believe is the Silicon Valley of India, representing Bengaluru, and from the Indus International School is Ishan. Welcome, Ishan. Those, ladies and gentlemen, are our four contenders here today as we go through multiple rounds to get these kids to articulate themselves in the context of global citizenship. Time for us to dive straight into our game here today as we begin with the first frontier of this national final, and we call it Me in 30 Seconds. Here it comes. These four youngsters have been asked to introduce themselves in a global context in just 30 seconds. If there is one thing that is true globally today, it is that no one has the time for anyone else. Today, brands, products, well, a lot of other things are sold in pretty much 30-second commercials across the world. So, if you were told in the future of this modern world that, hey, no introduction should cost 30 seconds or more in terms of time, how would you do that? Well, we're going to go in the order that I introduce them to you, and 30 seconds is what they have to introduce themselves to our judges, to me, and to you. We'll start with our first contestant here today from Mumbai, Anusha Mehta. Your 30 seconds, all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, good afternoon and good morning, because I believe this is truly a global event from a judge, which is from UK and from India as well. So, good afternoon once again and good morning. My name is Anusha Mehta and I study in Chhatrapur Narsi School. In today's world, we all are global citizens. The clothes we use, toys, apps, food, employment, everything is global. Feels like nothing has remained local anymore. With this, our outlook should also change to being global. Our values, our responsibilities, our concerns, our thinking has to be global. With that, I believe this event will help a lot of students like me in becoming much better global citizens in the future. Thank you so much.
Well, that's young Anusha speaking more of the context of the event and her, and not just herself. As we go to our second contender from Hyderabad, Ahilya. Your 30 seconds.
Good afternoon and good morning, panel of judges and dear contestants. I am Ahilya Nantakumar from Vikas the Concept School, Hyderabad. And I think I'm a global citizen because I appreciate difference and the differences that occur between us, because that's what makes us special. And and trust me when I say this, I think I'm a global citizen because at home, me and my family talk a mix of English, Hindi, Tamil, and Telugu. And I love eating Hyderabadi food. Even though I'm a Tamilian, I live here. Thank you.
Well, that's a very differently put introduction. Ahilya from Hyderabad with his curd rice and rasam, perhaps. As we go on to our third contender here today from Gurgaon, it is Sakshan. All yours.
I, Sakshan Ghosh, am a global citizen, exemplified by the phrase Tat Tvam Asi from the Upanishads, which means that art thou, or in other words, all of us are equivalent to God, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, etc. Hence, we are all interconnected, and this interconnectedness is what I firmly believe in and strive to propagate. I am an avid tech user who strives to use technology ethically and responsibly so as to foster peace, harmony, and collaboration.
Well, thank you so much, Sakshan. As we move across to our final contender from Bengaluru. All yours, 30 seconds, Ishan.
Good afternoon and good morning to the judges and participants. My name is Ishan Jain and I'm 11 years old. I was born and brought up in Bangalore, India, where I live with my parents and younger brother. I study at Indus International School. I've also written a book on money called London Here I Come. I wrote this to share with the larger audience what I think money is all about. I'm also proud and I am humbled to be CNBC TV 18's youngest author. I also really enjoy playing cricket and sports in general, and I feel that is a global affair as well.
Well, not too sure if our judges were prepared to have an author at that age. someone who can narrate Sanskrit at that age, but that explains why they are national finalists here today. Well, impressive they are in their first 30 seconds as we progress to the second frontier of our game here today. As we try and capture their views on global citizenship, it's time for their thoughts. Here it comes. We've got one common topic on which each of them will speak for 1 minute. We will go reverse in order to give Ishan a first strike opportunity in this round. And the topic that has been given to our four contenders is on your screen now. Digital global citizenship. What do you make of this? 1 minute of time to each of them on their perspective on global citizenship in a different form, digital global citizenship. Ishan Jain, we'll start with you. Your 1 minute of time on your thoughts on this topic.
Thank you. I think that digital global citizenship is about being a good global citizen, not just offline and physically, but also online, no matter where in the world you are. The internet has made it possible for people sitting thousands of miles away from each other to connect and share their thoughts. It has also given everyone a platform to share beliefs. It is making the world increasingly smaller, as you can talk to people halfway around the world with hardly any effort, as you may be following the same people or have similar interests. The internet has given us access to resources like never before, and it's up to us to use them for good. Furthermore, the internet has given us opportunities to send our message out to a huge global audience. We now have to use these opportunities to solve problems in our real lives as well, such as climate change.
There on a crisp 1 minute on his perspective of digital global citizenship as we move to Gurgaon with Sakshan Ghosh. Go ahead, Sakshan.
Nowadays, we live in a phygital world with the ability to navigate VUCA. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity is essential in order to inculcate mindful leadership into ourselves. Addressing as to how one participates and contributes in the blended physical and digital world of today is the very foundation stone of being a global digital citizen. With it, another very significant element is how one can influence the digital world to grow citizens in this new reality. As a global citizen, we find the individual having an attribute to see the world as a community, possess the ability and he possesses the ability to comprehend actions that contribute to the value of the entire world and one who is concerned about how one could participate and contribute for the benefit of the whole world. While in the digital citizen, we find the individual adhering to the guidelines related to the ethical and responsible use of technology. That person also knows how to act responsibly in all relationships and interactions in the digital world. Thus, when both the attributes of a global citizen and a digital citizen is mixed, the identity of a global digital citizen is created.
All right, Sakshan there with his narration on a digital global citizen as we move across to Hyderabad, Ahilya.
Yes, sir. Digital global citizenship means to be equally cautious and aware as we are by many people physically, because no one is a stranger nowadays and we interact with more people digitally. So it is important to keep in mind to be good global citizens even while they are online. First, be respectful on discussion forums or just anywhere online, because those are real people you're talking to. Also, insulting, bullying, and arguing are wrong. It is also very important to not to interact with trolls and respect copyright. Now, it is also very important to be careful while posting anything online, especially personal information like passwords, mailing address, and phone number. Don't believe and or trust everything you see online, especially something irrational or impossible, because this might have you spreading rumors everywhere. A digital global citizen is a person who's responsible, ethical citizen, leveraging technology further to foster community on a global scale through connection and compassion. He or she understands that we can govern technology for the benefit of both ourselves and others. Thank you.
All right, moving from Ahilya finally to Mumbai, where we will stop by for Anusha. Yes, Anusha.
Okay. We all are global citizens, and whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, we are also digital citizens because we all spend so much time on the internet. We also communicate and interact with a lot of different people because of that. We communicate with a lot of different countries, a lot of different people, religions, and different cultures. It adds up a lot to our learning and knowledge, trust me. But there are a lot of downsides as well. These are some of the things which will make us a good digital citizen. We should protect our privacy. One of the ways to protect your privacy is not sharing your passwords to anyone. And just a piece of advice, you can also change them pretty often so that it's not hacked. Okay? We should be respectful towards each other and not indulge in any sort of cyberbullying or trolling. Because I've come across many instances where my friends have been victims of cyberbullying and trolling. And if we are cyberbullying or trolling someone today, we might be in their place tomorrow. There are a lot of fake news and information. So we should be always careful and verify before forwarding them to others. Overall, to conclude, my point is we should use the digital world responsibly and not spend more time than recommended or given by our parents. Thank you very much.
Well, that is absolutely and truly remarkable where these young children are able to articulate themselves. Just a small observation that I sometimes make, and it's so true with today's youngsters. At my age, I still sometimes say, I have a suggestion. And I find a lot of youngsters today, and I interact with a huge number of them, always telling me, I have an advice for you. So it's always nice that we've got all these young advisors in this modern world, just in class 5 and class 6, and they're very clear, I've got advice for you. So world, be prepared to take their advice. And well, the way they're articulating themselves, I'm getting to feel happy that I'm not in the judge's chair today. Truly remarkable children, the 4 of them from different corners as we move to the next frontier. So ladies and gentlemen, time for us to move into the next frontier where we've got a proposition for these youngsters, and they will, well, have a group discussion of sorts. They've got 8 minutes to discuss as the 4 of them, and then we'll probably give them an additional 2 minutes to wrap up their thoughts. But time for us to move into the next frontier and to have our children voice their views. Here it comes. We've got one topic on which they will discuss, debate, deliberate, do what they think is appropriate among the 4 of them. I will be a mute spectator for the first 7-8 minutes. I'll only try and be a moderator. It's completely your time, children. So you will also need to understand how you want to manage your mic so that you're not really shouting into each other. Careful that it doesn't echo. But I'm sure you'll be able to manage that between the 4 of you. Time for us to move in. 8 minutes of time. And, well, I'm just waiting for the clock to move to the position. I'm good. I have a sense on time there. As we begin with the proposition for all of you, well, we've got a doctor on our panel, so careful when you play this out. Here is your topic coming up now. Should vaccinations be made globally mandatory? Everyone's debating on this, and let's see what these young minds have for us here today. Should vaccinations be made mandatory? Your time starting now. Over to the 4 of you.
Well, should vaccinations be made globally mandatory? I believe yes, they should be. Because vaccinations have proved to be working and it has proved to be very useful. Well, here it's a matter of freedom versus compulsion. Okay, so not saying that there shall be no freedom, but they should have freedom in personal choices. This is a global choice.
I want to add something to it.
Actually, I want to add something as well. Anusha, you said that it is a debate between freedom and the good of others, and I agree with that. But I think, a lot of people, especially abroad, I haven't heard of many anti-vaxxers in India, but I'm sure there must be many. But abroad, especially in America, I've heard people think that it is their right to not vaccinate themselves. And while it is their right, sometimes if vaccines were made globally mandatory, it would be totally worth it to go over the right. Now, of course, if you actually have a medical condition preventing you from getting the vaccine, that's okay, but you need to have it checked out by a doctor, right? And if you're perfectly okay and you're doing it on your own, if you're doing it as per your own choice, I don't think it's right. And if it was made globally mandatory, it would be perfect, and those people's right to not put a vaccine in themselves, it's okay to forego that, because it's for the good of everyone else, and it's even for the good who can't, it's even good for the people who can't vaccinate, in the form of herd immunity. So that's what I wanted to add.
Okay,
Actually,
so I get both of your points, but I mean it all comes down to freedom of choice, and every individual should make their own judgment about whether they want to take the vaccination. And I think that is a personal decision that everyone should make for themselves rather than the government making for them.
actually,
The way to get around this, the way to get around this problem that people think that the vaccinations are not safe, the way to get around this is to have, if not multiple agencies to check it out, maybe to have a longer time to approve. I
Mm.
mean, roll the
Sakshi,
vaccines out first and then make it actually mandatory after it has been tested even more thoroughly, so that even people who usually would not have been willing to take the vaccine would be made to take it, but they would do it more willingly, right? Because if they know that
actually,
there's been even
Isha,
more time devoted to it, the vaccine
Yeah.
should be rolled out, but there should be even more time while the vaccine is developing, while the vaccines are rolling out.
Ishan, you mentioned that it's their personal choices. I completely agree that, but they should get personal choices on what they wear, how they look. Now, WHO also says that even if 5% of the people are not vaccinated, we will never win this fight against, we'll never eradicate this virus. And it's really important for us to do that. I'll just give
and
you an instance from our lives.
and it's
For example,
actually,
my dad, okay, my dad goes to office. And out of 10 people, 7 people are vaccinated. And my dad is one of those 7 people. The other 3 are not. It's higher risk for the other 3 who are not vaccinated, plus the risk for the 7 others. So everyone's life is on death just because of those 7 people.
Anusha. What I'm saying is, this. I think you're talking, since you're talking about COVID. What you said makes sense. But let's say it was about something like polio or something.
Yeah.
Let's say there was something even infectious, right? Even if you have already vaccinated yourself, there are certain people who cannot vaccinate. They cannot. Maybe they have some issue with their immune system, right? Many
Yeah.
vaccines work in the way like you vaccinate yourself, and it sends a weaker version of the virus or the whatever, or the bacteria or whatever you're vaccinating against, right? And
Yeah.
if people who have some autoimmune problems or anything like that, people who have their immune system compromised or any other reason, because they don't take vaccines, they could be affected. Like if you take the vaccine, then it's okay, right? It's okay for you. And you were saying in your dad's office there are 3 other people who are unvaccinated.
I'm just giving an example.
If is it by choice or is it not by choice? Because if it is by choice and it is not because of compulsion, then it is not right. But if it isn't by choice, if they are made to, it's completely okay. It should be made globally mandatory
Yeah.
for those who
That's
can.
what I said.
I think
Yeah,
Sachin is right. I think Sachin is right. But actually, what is the problem with those three? If they are by compulsion or not, then one day they will, if they, for example, they get COVID, like just say that those three get COVID, and then they occupy the bed in some hospital, and there are like a few more people who desperately need those beds. Now, Sachin is totally right. If you have like some problem with the immune system, you can't do anything except encourage her immunity. But if you're done by choice, that's totally wrong, because
Yeah,
government never said that if you have any allergy or if you have any immune system problem,
yeah.
that you should put vaccine even if you die. I don't care. That never, government never
That's
said that.
not right. That defeats the purpose of vaccine. And I would like to elaborate on
no,
an earlier point
thing
that
is,
I had said that the vaccines need to be rolled out later. That they need to be rolled out later. I don't think.
Yeah. So I
I
think
think
that'll make
I think I said that wrong. I think what I really meant was that there should be more communication and education about vaccine efficacy or the
Yeah,
efficiency of the vaccine.
Yeah,
So there
that's
are some
correct.
people who are like,
yeah,
I
that
don't feel
might
like it.
make,
People don't
Because
take
otherwise the government will have a lot of backlash, because
yeah.
even
exactly.
if people would have taken the vaccine anyways, they would be angry because now they are forced to take the vaccine, right? So there should
Yeah.
be greater
So I think I
communication
agree
about
with
it so
that.
that no one
I
has.
agree with Sakshan, but the thing
Yeah,
is that people are not even educated about the
yeah, that's
vaccination.
exactly what I'm
Exactly.
There
saying.
should be
The
more
That's
education
wrong.
needs to
Right?
happen
That's wrong.
if
Completely
vaccines are
understand.
made globally
And you
mandatory.
also said that people don't take it because of their immune system. I
Yeah.
personally have never come across a case like that. But if there is one, we could always help, like ask the experts of the vaccine to help us. And there
No,
must be
no,
a way.
Anusha. What I'm saying, basically, the thing is, this is because of the way vaccines work. People who are compromised for the immune. Let's say someone got a surgery recently. Since it is from a different place, right? It is from a different person. The immune system will have some, reactions with it, right? So there are some drugs. I'm not a medical expert, of course. One of the judges here is, and it would have been nice if she could give her opinion, but sadly she cannot. But anyways, as I was saying, I think that is how it works. They are given drugs to suppress their immune system, and so that the immune system doesn't kill them, right? Because it has too much of a reaction.
Yes.
So no one can take a vaccine in that case, because in that case, even the weakest version of a vaccine, it has to have something so that the body will make antibodies. Again, this is
Vaccines have
all
been
from whatever little knowledge I have.
Yeah. So you guys told, like, you guys also agreed that people are not educated about the vaccine. So there must be some way to educate
2 minutes
them.
left.
If they make,
You have
if
2 minutes left.
yes, if they make it
So
mandatory, it would be better because, first of all, it has a history of success, like the earlier diseases. Let's say polio. Okay, the cases were around 48%, and it dropped down to it's less than 1% today with the
Yeah,
vaccine.
it's only in a
So
few places, very remote places,
yes,
or
so it's
places
yeah,
where it's
so
they put
not
the
that effective.
vaccinations through our mouth. And now, taking the real example of the current instance that's going on, the hospital beds, people out of 100%, people,
Yeah,
90% or 80% of the people were needing oxygen and hospital beds,
yeah,
which is now less than 10% need to go to the
yeah,
hospital.
yeah. Because of the
Yeah.
vaccine, it reduces the
So
efficiency
the
of the
vaccinations are
of the
better.
actual COVID, right? And another
Yes.
actually,
thing I wanted to
But
say,
also,
I
yeah, so I agree with
I
Sakshan's
wanted to
point,
say, yeah, I
which
wanted to
is
say that
that
another thing
there
I wanted to
needs to
say,
be more education about the vaccines because
yeah,
without that, there's no way that people are going to trust. So if there is more education and communication from
there should be more
major
the
actually.
people
government,
like WHO, so they are a very reputed
But
organization.
Ishan, they're
Ishan, could I
Yeah,
already
I
say
think
something
doing a lot of
else?
education about the
Ishan is
vaccine.
right.
They're also
I think
approving the vaccination. But still, people are not listening. I think it's a need for the government to make it mandatory now.
Yeah, Anusha.
yeah,
Another
Yeah,
thing I wanted to
yeah,
but they
give.
actually
can't make it mandatory without sending out that info that the vaccination is tried and tested to work
Ishan, yeah,
and
and also
communicating the efficiency.
WHO approved
And also,
itself.
Anusha, I
okay.
wanted to say another thing is that vaccines are the last option when everything else is exhausted. Quarantines, isolation, it can only go so far, right? It can only happen for
Yeah.
so long until
Vaccinations are
your
basically like
economy is too
booster.
hurt and all. And
No,
vaccines can prevent that from
vaccination.
happening in the
I
first place.
don't
There
believe
is no
it's the last
replacement for
option
vaccines
because it
as a
saves
last
you
resort.
I
from
just
the
want to
disease. It
everyone,
prevents you from getting the disease.
Yeah,
Ansha,
exactly. It's a
Ansha,
preventive measure.
All
Yes.
right,
So the
I
guys.
vaccine
actually agree.
Guys, you've completely run out of time. Ahilya, you were just saying something. Please complete that.
Yeah,
But after
actually,
that, we'll stop. Yes.
yeah, actually, I was just saying that Ishan is totally right. There should be more communication between the health organizations and the like WHO and the IMA of India and all that. There should be more communication that if you have the disease, this will be the side effect. And if you're not so sure, just tell them not so sure like that. So there should be clear communication. If you're making it yes, there should be clear communication.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much to the four of you. I think you will certainly handle this world better than people of my generation will. The clarity certainly seems to be impeccable in the way they place their arguments and their thoughts. Truly overwhelmed with the quality of the four contestants that we have as we move to the next frontier. Time for us to move on to the next frontier, but truly humbling to see such young children articulate their ways their thoughts, their opinions of how global citizenship should be approached on a rather sensitive topic, even for people of probably my generation, and truly well articulated youngsters. Kudos to all of you. As we move to the next frontier before we get to our jury, it's time for us to get a global perspective from these four people. And here it comes. On their global perspective, what we've done is we've given an assortment of choices for them to pick from. And this is from the SDG goals that the world today has. The Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations is something many countries across the world are trying to implement. India, certainly at the forefront and very seriously at that, as we try to make India really a nation that will work along the SDG goals. So we've got common alignment of goals and thoughts, and therefore progress as a human race. Well, here are the choices that are available to you as contestants. If we can have that slide just coming up. Okay, we've got 6 choices and 4 contestants. So you can choose whatever you want to. Ideally, we've asked them to be prepared with multiple choices so that they are able to not repeat a choice if someone else has taken, because they don't know what the other contestants are going to choose. So that's how this game is going to play. So we're going to go clockwise, which means we're going to start with Anusha. Now, what they need to do, and this is for the benefit of all of you viewing this championship and for the jury, they will pick whatever topic in this that they feel they would like to work on. And they would essentially say, why would they want to choose that, and what would they do if they were to get into that? And they have a minute's time to ideally articulate their thoughts. A little over a minute is okay, but don't go too far beyond that 1 minute slot. So we're going to go start right out with Anusha, who will be our first mover on this as we go back to clockwise. What's your choice? And if you could tell us your choice first and then start speaking.
Okay, I chose quality education as my topic.
Go ahead.
Quality education is really important in a developing country like India. Well, at least 35 million children aged 6 to 14 years do not attend school, 53% of which are girls from the age of 5 to 9 years, and they are completely illiterate. Today, India has a GER, which is gross enrollment ratio, of 26.6%, which means 74% of the youth population is currently not within the higher education system due to lack of accessibility or affordability, majority of which are girls. Quality education starts with the grassroots level. Don't you think every single child, whether in India or not, deserves proper education? Kids in remote places are given education, but they are not given proper education. Environment in the village is more like agriculture, marketing, and all those different professions which are not very common in cities and towns. As a student of grade 6, I have personally experienced learning is fun through videos, games, animations, and quizzes instead of just doing theory. For students like me, learning in a fun way is much better than just listening and it just going above your head. But we should take time at what look we should take time to look at what students need. So as I mentioned before, most people in the village take profession of agriculture, which also includes marketing. So we can comprehend in the curriculum subjects such as marketing, study of crops. Organic crops have a growing demand in the market right now. So if we could just introduce these subjects, it would be great. Even technology can be one of them. Thank you.
Well, so your recommendation for curriculum change coming in as part of quality education, I think she's got some valid points out there. As we go to our next contender here today, let's see what Ahilya is going to choose. Go ahead, Ahilya.
I would choose SDG 2, which is zero hunger. Actually, we all have felt how much like, if a lunch gets like half an hour late, how much we suffer, like how much we feel like my stomach is burning. What should we do? What should we do? Like that. But and imagining 3.1 million children not able to see their fifth birthday, all because of poor nutrition and hunger, really pains me. And 8.8, according to UNICEF, 8.8 lakh children die of starvation, and all of them younger than 5 years. They all did this in 2018. So that's really bad. Like they don't deserve this. So I want to fill empty bellies. I don't want a single empty belly in whole of the world. And if every person in the world can't have at least 2 meals a day, what is the use? There's no way humanity is gonna grow if each and every person can't have proper food. Thank you.
All right. So you got zero hunger, you got quality education. Let's see what Sakshan's going to choose. Go ahead, Sakshan. What's your choice?
I choose SDG Goal 6. SDG Goal 6 is a drive to ensure access to safe water sources and sanitation for all. It is disheartening to know that the demand for water has outpaced population growth, and many locations in our country still face challenges in providing basic sanitation facilities to its people. All of us here are aware of the clean water scarcity and lack of proper sanitation. But what I'm going to talk about is how I can do my bit in achieving the goal. Awareness is key to drive any movement and to make it a successful endeavor. I believe that children can influence other children very easily as they connect effortlessly with each other. As children residing in big cities where there is more exposure to information and education, we need to reach out to remote corners of the country and speak to the children there. I feel if a child is aware of his environment and has knowledge and understanding of how things can be changed for the better, he or she in turn can make sure that the family and then the community follows these steps. Schools can play a significant role in conducting such interactions, which should be fruitful, and such sharing of experiences will enrich both parties equally. By managing our water sustainably, we are also able to better manage our production of food and energy and contribute to decent work and economic growth. Proper sanitation facilities and awareness of the same will lead to good health and hygiene. Basic human right. Thank you.
Sakshan. So we are left with our last contender here today from Bengaluru's Indus International. Ishan, what's your choice?
Okay. So my choice is SDG 10, which is good health and well-being. I think I choose good health and well-being because, okay, so first of all, well-being is made up of three aspects: physical, mental, and emotional. If it if all of them are not at their 100% all the time, then that could cause major issues. If you're not fully healthy all the time, then you could become extremely vulnerable to some diseases that could prove to be life-threatening. And I've I see that in some of the smaller towns and villages, good health care is absent, and there are not that many great hospitals across India. So I feel that even though health is a basic human right, and being healthy is a basic human right, that is not being fulfilled at some points. Therefore, I think I would like to work on good health and well-being.
All right. There are the four of them with four different areas of focus. It's really nice that, programs and events like this inculcate the thoughts and seed a sort of a mindset in these youngsters which will lead to a better world. So before we get in to meet our jury and to welcome them, it is indeed my pleasure to appreciate this entire initiative by TCS iON IntelliGem. Superb. Truly gems of tomorrow, and the quality this year seems to be absolutely fabulous and stunning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen these youngsters battle through with their views, opinion, perspectives on topics which are truly beyond us sometimes, but at their age, they just seem to effortlessly handle all of this. We move to the final frontier of our battle here today. You're watching Global Citizenship TCS ION IntelliGem's Challenge for Bright Young Minds. It's time to move to our jury. Here it comes. Let me introduce our two jury members to you before we move on to allowing our jury members to question or quiz these youngsters in that sense on what they have spoken over the last half an hour to 40 minutes. With me as our first jury member here today, all the way from the United Kingdom, is Dr. Saba Muhammad Mansoor. She's an MD in public health and a fellow in emergency medicine. As a doctor and a public health expert, she has worked in India till recently in the state of Gujarat as a state immunization consultant in a program that was supported by UNICEF. She's also been an advocate for mental health among medical students. She takes special interest in providing career advice to medical students who are especially in their undergraduate level. Besides being a doctor and someone at a global scale, she also has special interest in music, dance, and is a certified Zumba instructor. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, truly a pleasure and privilege for us to welcome our first jury member, Dr. Saba. Thank you so much for joining us, Doctor.
Hello, everyone. So
Hi,
nice to
ma'am.
meet you. So
You
nice to
too.
meet you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for making me a part of this wonderful program. I'm really humbled and I stand nowhere. At this age, I wouldn't be speaking things like these. I am exposed to these topics at this age, and these people talking about global health topics right now. I need to thank, TCS for exposing children and exposing us to all these kind of programs. And really humbled, and I'm really overwhelmed with this program today. So, first of all, I would say that the public health is not only for doctors, it's not only for the government. I think it's for budding children to inculcate these kind of habits and try to, propagate this kind of information to everyone. If they have access to information, if they have access to global, I can say, in global information everywhere, it's up to them how they use it to their full potential. So I can see that you're all well informed, and I just need to know how much you know, or how much more you can teach me in this aspect.
Ladies and gentlemen, our second jury member here today joins us from Kuwait, an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad with over 2 decades of experience in varied roles. He most recently has been a senior member with the Kuwait National Petroleum Company in the country Kuwait. He is an extremely passionate person when it comes to education. He serves at the IIT-IM Alumni Association of Kuwait board as its general secretary. And I have been privileged to be in Kuwait and interact with the IIT-IM Alumni Association there. They do fantastic work for school children. And it's indeed a pleasure and privilege for us to have a global panel of judges this year with us here as our second jury member. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. Bhushan Joshi. Welcome to you, Bhushan.
Thank Giri. It is a pleasure and honor, privilege to be part of this. As I said, it's mind-boggling to have such quality of students, such young quality of students, and I wish all of them the very best. They are all winners in their own selves, irrespective of the outcome from today. All the best.
All right. Time for our jury members to now start asking their questions. We'll go to Dr. Saba first. Doctor, you could choose one of the 4 who you would like to ask a question to, and then we'll have the child responding to you. Over to you, Doctor.
All right. So I would pick Mr. Sakshim Ghosh. Okay. Hello, Sakshim.
Yes. Hello, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So, well, I I have first-hand experienced the vaxxers, anti-vaxxers interactions. I've been there on the field talking to these anti-vaxxers. You have a very special interest in people who have freedom of choice and also the role of health education in the anti-vaxxers. So I would just give you a scenario, and I want you to, to negotiate and see how you can work your way through this. I know it's a new topic, but I just want to see, as a child, how would you try to convince them? Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So I am a mother of, a 5-year-old child, and she has. I'll come to you and I say, my brother's kid got polio, and he was also vaccinated. So I do not want to get my child vaccinated. I am completely against vaccination. And I just come and talk to you because you were talking about vaccination some other day. So how would you try to talk to me about it as a child?
First of all, I would tell her that it is not the vaccine that caused polio. In fact, it was made for the complete opposite. And most of the people, this is actually the first time I've ever heard of a person who has taken the polio vaccine getting polio, anyways, right? So that means that most of the people have not gotten polio from the polio vaccine, and maybe this is a very rare occurrence, right? I've never heard of this before, so I think it would be better if you take the vaccine anyway, because just because of this extremely small chance, it is not good to risk your child's life or even your own life.
Okay. I would say that it's my only child, and I'm really worried about this child. Do you think I should take such a chance on my only child?
You see, this chance, let me put this in other words. Let's say, in well, actually, you know what? Let me just say it normally. You see, that person, his brother, your brother's child, he got the polio. He got polio in spite of having the polio vaccine. But tell me, from your own experience, have you ever heard of anyone else getting polio just because of having the polio vaccine? You know, I don't
No,
think you
it's
would have, and I haven't either. And since this chance is so small, even if this has happened, if this would have been a real problem, it would have been revealed long ago, and there would have been studies on it, seeing why it happens. But this is a extremely rare chance, and I think this is a chance that you can take with your only child, because this chance is, you know it's it's nearly impossible for this to happen to you. Your brother's child's case is a very rare one, extremely rare, so I would recommend that you get the vaccine anyway, since the chance of getting polio itself in spite of not having the vaccine is higher than getting the chance of polio while having the vaccine, and sometimes the chance of getting polio while having a vaccine is zero. So I would recommend that you get it
okay.
for your child.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Sachin,
Sakshan,
for your views.
well, Sakshan certainly would qualify on good negotiation skills. Well, that's a tough question for a class 6. But that's the kind of jury that we've put together for you. And these are national finalists. So we do believe in a different benchmark every year. I'll move over from London to Kuwait to Bhushan Joshi. Who do you want to choose, Bhushan?
Thank you. I choose Ishan. Ishan,
Hi,
as
sir.
part
Good
of
afternoon.
good afternoon, Ishan. As part of your, uh, what you said on digital global citizenship, you said you want to solve climate change. You know, could you elaborate more on how would the digital world help in solving such an acute problem, which has been caused through the physical world?
Okay. So, I don't think that climate change can completely be eradicated through digitally, but it could play a big part, and that is because to solve any problem, the first step is always got to be creating awareness about the problem to show that the problem really exists and it's a major thing. And even though people have been talking about climate change for years now, many people still don't take them seriously. And they're like, oh, but climate change can't be such a big deal. I don't see a change in the weather from yesterday to today. So, you digital media can be a huge tool when you are spreading awareness about a topic. So, I think that is why.
Thank you.
Answer there for Bhushan. I'll go back to Sabha. She can choose between Ahilya and Anusha. Who's your pick, Sabha?
Ahilya? Yeah.
Hi, ma'am.
You were speaking about the cyberbullying
Yes, ma'am.
on the internet, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's a really approaching topic, and a lot of people are getting exposed to this, and they are affected by this. So, as a student of class 5, I suppose.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As a student of class 5, Ahilya, how could you bring about awareness among adults regarding cyberbullying? Do you
Just like
think you
Ishan.
can do that from school?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can do that. First thing I will ask my teacher, my principal, my friends for help to spread the message first. And I would try to spread a message that if you're getting cyberbullied, the best thing to do is tell a guardian, a teacher, anyone you can trust, parent, tell them about it. They will contact police and they will contact it, and you won't get cyberbullied again. No one will dare to cyberbully you again. So the best way is to stand up to it. If you stand up to it, then no one's going to do it to you because they are afraid of getting caught with the police. Like who likes to get caught with police? So I think that's the only solution we can do. Or another solution is that's actually not a very recommended one, but if you're still getting bullied again and again and again, it's just to like see as you go, don't not go much to the internet. Only go to the sites that your mom and dad have told you, only to those sites. They will verify it that if there's anything going on in it. That's how my parents do it. They tell only don't go to YouTube, go to YouTube Kids. Go there, go to this. And I'll follow that.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks,
That's Ahilya there, articulating her views on Dr. Sabha's question. So that leaves Anusha to face Bhushan. Bhushan, your question for Anusha.
Hi, Anusha.
Hello, sir. Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Anusha, you spoke on quality education as part of the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. I liked your topic. I was just curious on, how do you perceive, or what do you perceive as, or what is quality education as defined by you?
Okay. So for me, quality education is getting educated by professionals. Okay. So, for example, we living in cities, and I mentioned about affordability. We can afford good schools, we can afford big schools, but many people cannot. So, my aim is to try to get that education at a lower price in remote places for people who cannot afford it. Okay, and for me, quality education is basically getting good education which will lead you to a better future. Okay, getting verified education, getting educated by verified teachers and professionals.
So that's a crisp answer from Anusha there. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard them give their perceptions right across the 4 rounds that we allowed them to do their narrations. Some of them crisp, some of them elaborate, their answers to our jury. But ladies and gentlemen, to all of you youngsters, well, you will of course hear the results of this at the grand prize distribution. But for the moment, ladies and gentlemen, I think we really need to believe and acknowledge that all these 4 have been remarkable in their own way. Outstanding. I think I'm echoing what probably is running in the minds of the 2 judges, saying, why did I accept this role? How do I choose one among these 4? It can almost sometimes, and I feel this way quite honestly, children, when I judge programs like this, and I'm not the anchoring side, but the judging side, sometimes you tend to feel you're sinning when you're actually telling a child, okay, I've got to choose someone else over you. Truly outstanding, all the four of you. None of what I say is going to influence the judges in their judgment, but I'm making the statement from having been part of this program over the last many years. Honestly, one of the best set of finalists that I have interacted with. Superb. All four of you outstanding. I really can't put my money and say who's going to be the winner here. It's complicated. But for the moment, truly, truly remarkable performance by all of you. I want to specifically appreciate the four of you for the way you conducted yourselves. Sometimes, at your age, when it comes to group discussions and so on, there can be a tendency to outshout the other person, not to allow the other to speak. I think, like Sabha so rightly said, we need to learn from you. I think you really conducted yourselves with enormous amount of dignity, gave each other the space to speak, beautifully conducted, all the four of you. So ladies and gentlemen, after that remarkable battle, it's certainly going to be difficult for Mr. Bhushan Joshi and Dr. Sabha to really identify who's going to be on top of this Global Citizenship Challenge. For the juniors, remember, well, you've got far more battles coming up at TCS iON IntelliGem for this season. Don't go away, but from me, Pig Brain, as we promise you, much more action in the others, the senior category and so on. For now, a big thank you to our two jury members for joining us from their respective geographic locations, and to our four contestants, their respective schools, for preparing them to be such outstanding ambassadors in a global world. Till we meet again, from me, Pig Brain, thank you for joining us. Goodbye.